Ah, that is very annoying. That is very annoying. I just said an entire intro and realized that when OBS updated, it was like that. Thank you, guys. The very first thing I asked was, can you guys hear me all right? And I didn't realize that you guys couldn't hear me at all. So let me go ahead and repeat what I just said. Hello, guys, and welcome to the stream. I hope you're all doing well today. I was asking you whether or not everything was all right. Someone was messing with my microphone when they were over here, and I think it messed up some of the settings. And also, there was... looks like there was a bit of a update in Streamlabs, and that may have knocked off my Blue Yeti from being the microphone. But anyway, we do have audio now. I hope you guys can hear me all right. Give me a 1 in the chat if it all sounds good. Someone already said 1 before I even said that. Hey, Don Johnson. I hope you guys are all doing well. I hope you guys are having a profitable day. Tell me in the chat, how are you guys reacting to this pullback that we've seen here over the last 24 hours? Are you looking forward to Bitcoin potentially falling below $10,000? Are you going to be planning on opening a short position down there? Did you maybe short and get liquidated because Bitcoin does seem to want to put a bottom in right now? Where are you guys in your mindset right now? That's what I'm really interested in right now, is how are you guys feeling about the market? I'm sure there's a lot of FUD in the market as Bitcoin approaches, and as it did this morning, broke briefly below $10,000. I want to hear what you guys have to say about the market. We're going to be doing a lot of different technical analysis in today's video. I want to talk about what's gone on here over the last 12 to 24 hours or so, ever since the pullback from $11,000 a little while ago, about somewhere around this time yesterday, actually. We're going to be talking about that, and I'm going to be giving you guys my prediction on where I think Bitcoin's going to be headed from here. We're also going to be doing some news catching up, because I haven't had a whole lot of time to read a bunch of news today, which I hate because I like being up to date with what's going on in the cryptocurrency space. So we're going to be doing some live news research later on in this video because I need to get caught up. I've been busy this morning. Oh, guys, today's been a crazy morning. I've been very happy this morning. So we'll be diving into some news later on. Apologies for missing yesterday's live stream. The way that we're going to be doing this is so that I can maintain my sanity. We're going to try to do 4 live streams a week: Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. I missed yesterday's because yesterday was a very hectic day, and today we're going to be making up for that. So today's video is actually going to be a pretty well-timed one. I'm looking forward to the live stream because, as you guys know, Bitcoin is trying to put a bottom in here. So, guys, I'm going to mute myself for just 1 second. I'll be right back. Got a bit of a sniffle or something. I had to clear my throat. Let's catch up on chat here, and then we'll go ahead and dive into the technical analysis, guys. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button. It really helps out with the YouTube algorithm. It helps to get the stream ranked. It helps to make sure that people know the stream's going on who are subscribers to the channel. And also, if you are a subscriber to the channel, make sure you smash that notification bell so you'll be updated when these streams do start. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, I don't know what you're doing with your life, man. You know, I'm not one to pass judgment, but really, I think you should hit that subscribe button. I mean, come on. If you're here, you probably like Bitcoin. We do daily technical analysis on Bitcoin. Come on now. Go ahead and do that. Free Hat says you can do 2 live streams today, or 2 live streams todays. I am not doing 2 live streams today. We're going to be live streaming for about 2 hours today, probably. It's 4:26. I tried to get started at 4:20 for the meme, but I wasn't able to quite swing it. And we're probably going to be going till about 6:30 or so. I'm going to have some people over later, so I won't be able to be streaming during that. In fact, one of them just messaged me. I'm going to go ahead and mute my phone real quick. Sorry about that, guys. Like I said, I'm going to catch up with chat here for a little bit, and we're going to dive right into some technical analysis and try to get to the exact bottom of what is going on here. Like this live stream. Yes, guys, hit those likes. Give me 1 second. Oh, guys, if you have anything in your nose, it makes it very hard to speak. I do apologize. Anyway, let's go ahead and dive on into some technical analysis here. Guys, as you know, Bitcoin over the last several days, ever since about the 14th of August when it put a bottom in down here around $9,500, it has been rallying, but you guys know my stance on this. I've been saying for the last week or so that this rally is just not very strong. I've been calling breakout after breakout to the downside, and Bitcoin's been proving me wrong so far, but the day before yesterday, back here on the 19th, Bitcoin finally vindicated. We put a top in up here at 11,000. We had another lower high, at $10,800, and we've now fallen down to and below $10,000 before trying to stage a recovery down there. So, guys, I've been bullish and bearish over the last week, but in general, I've been really thinking that Bitcoin was going to fall below the 20 exponential moving average on the weekly chart. I'll go ahead and show you that. I was really kind of surprised that it looked like Bitcoin was starting a new rally without doing this, because I was expecting if we were to start a new rally that later on we were going to have to come down and test this. I feel like Bitcoin needs to test this moving average right here, and if it doesn't, I don't think we're necessarily in. I don't necessarily think that we're in a position to start going into a new rally. I want to see Bitcoin come down and test that 20 EMA. And by the way, guys, I'm selfish. I want to see Bitcoin go down to $9,200 so that I can buy more Bitcoin. You know, I don't want that to happen for you guys who are potentially in a long, as I was talking to someone earlier who has an unfortunate liquidation price at $9,002. But as far as I'm concerned, you know, my selfish self is going to say, I hope it does go down there because I'm not in any leverage longs right now. I'm very careful about when I use leverage. And I am looking forward to adding more to my portfolio. I think we're probably going to go a little bit lower here. What we've seen over the last 2 hours or so, this little uptrend right here is starting to wane my confidence on that. We'll be talking about that more as the live stream goes on, so I may go ahead and put some money into Bitcoin now, sooner rather than later. Guys, if you don't know, a great way to work in these markets, a great way to invest in the markets, if you don't really know how you want to do it, is to dollar cost average. That's just buying a certain amount of Bitcoin every single weekday. The same weekday every single week. Like every single Friday, you might put $250 into Bitcoin, or every single Wednesday, you might put $50 into Litecoin. That's dollar cost averaging. If you're concerned about trying to find a bottom, that's a good concern. Trying to call the bottom is very dangerous. It's very risky. If you don't want to do that, then you can do what's called dollar cost averaging. If you're in the academy, there is a video on that. Anyway, guys, let's go ahead and keep going here with what's going on. I'll catch up with chat in a little bit. Someone said, love the stream. Thank you so much, guys. If you are enjoying, make sure you grab a friend and hit that like button. But guys, the thing that really concerned me the most, and you have probably heard me say this a lot, but Bitcoin had this blood fall right here. This was very bearish, guys. Bitcoin fell very rapidly. I want you to understand just how severe this was. Bitcoin fell 17% in 2 days. If that had happened in the stock market, there would be trillions of dollars vanishing out of traditional finance markets right now. I mean, there would be people that would be, jumping out of windows. It would be catastrophe. Luckily, in Bitcoin, a 17% drop in 2 days isn't the end of times, but it's also not a good sign. And the other not good sign that we've seen recently is that when Bitcoin put a bottom in down here, around $9,500, we didn't really see the kind of recovery and the kind of bounce that I would have liked to have seen. I would have liked to have seen Bitcoin rally very quickly up here to 11,003 or 11,004 and start breaking bullish. We didn't see that, guys. Instead, what we saw was a very slow uptrend. We saw that this uptrend was maybe about half as fast as the downtrend that led into this, which does, in fact, make this look like a bear flag. And guess what, guys? We've talked about that bear flag idea a lot, and I've talked about how valid it is. We saw Bitcoin was bearish. We saw that it went into this bear flag right here, or this bear pennant or whatever. Now, I will give you this. This definitely looks like it's a lot bigger than it should be, but even with that in mind, there was always a chance that we were going to break bearish here, and that's what we've done. We've come down here to $10,000, and as you saw in this morning's video, we started testing it. Now, guys, I want to be very clear. If Bitcoin is able to maintain this bottom down here around $9,900 and change, if we can maintain that, I'm going to feel pretty bullish on Bitcoin, because what that means is that we have a new higher low. But, guys, if we can't do that, and Bitcoin does manage to break $10,000, if we start heading down here to like 9.7, 9.6, we're probably going straight to 9,000. We might put a double bottom in down here, but I would at that point be expecting Bitcoin to test the 20 weekly exponential moving average, because that is where Bitcoin always goes during these bear markets. If you guys are normal viewers of the channel and you somehow haven't seen this, check this out. Bitcoin does it all the time. Anyway, Evan Owens donated $2, said, crash, baby. Great vids. Thank you. Thank you so much for the donation, guys. I really do appreciate it. If you guys want to donate to the channel and help keep the channel running, because of course this is a business and there are business expenses, and it's not free for me to make these videos, even though they are freely available to you. You can hit that little rectangle with a $sign in it below the chat box, and then you can go ahead and donate. If you want to do that, if there's something you really want to get my attention with, if you just want to support the channel, that's a great way to do that. Go ahead and do that. I do appreciate it, Evan Owens. And by the way, guys, if you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the post notification bell. If you hit that subscribe button, your name will flash up on screen, and I will personally give you a shout out. I look forward to seeing you guys join us. Let's go ahead and look here at chat. Someone said chat is blocking chart. I am trying to get better at that. I am so sorry. Jeb quit this pennant these several weeks, just a larger pennant several months. Yeah, well, that's one thing I also wanted to talk about, is that if Bitcoin does make this its bottom down here around $9,800, then what we have then is an uptrend of support right here. And guess what, guys? Bitcoin also has a relatively well-defined downtrend of resistance, as you can see right there. And that could very well turn into a very large pennant that could see some kind of breakout later on this month or early on into September. That's something that could happen. I'll be keeping an eye out for it. I'm not going to put too much attention onto that right now, because I'm not convinced that that's necessarily going to happen, and it is a few days out. So we'll look at that XRP Florida said, savage, heinous, and a borderline ludicrous debacle if you do, in fact, ask me. Absolutely, XRP Florida. I don't know what we're talking about, but I am outraged. I'm absolutely livid. Guys. Oh, man, I'm mad. Anyway, one more thing that I want to talk about was the RSI, because, guys, when you're seeing new bottoms be formed, it's very important that you keep an eye out on the RSI for potential RSI divergence, because that can be a telltale sign that something either very good or very bad is happening to the market. Luckily, this is not really an issue right now. Bitcoin does not have any RSI divergence on the long term down here on the hourly chart. We don't see any on the 4-hourly chart, if I remember correctly. In fact, we see some pretty standard RSI right here. We have even more room to go on the 4-hourly, and also on the daily chart, we're looking relatively healthy as well. I just wanted to go ahead and bring that up because I know people like looking at RSI divergence, and that is something that is very important. One thing out here on the daily chart that is concerning to me, though, is the way that the histogram looks. As you guys can see, the MACD line is curving away from the signal line. These two were converging on themselves in what is known as bullish convergence. They were looking for a bullish cross. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like that's going to happen with the red candlestick that we've had today. That is perfectly all right. That's not the end of the world, but it is something that we need to see. Someone asked, what is YouTube's cut to Super Chat donations? You know, I actually don't know. Someone said it's 70%. I'm not sure. I think he means 70% goes to the creator. I don't actually know on that. I should know that, but I don't. Emery said, like this video, guys and girls. Let's look at chat here for a second. Dre said hi to Taylor. Taylor's not watching the live stream, but I'll tell you said hi, Dre. Jeff, do you know any good crypto merchandise gear online stores? Well, if you give me about 6 months or so, I can plug my own. But other than that, no, I actually don't know very many. He's saying phrases from another YouTuber, Jeb, crypto curvy, and his stupid phrases. Oh, I have no idea what he's talking about then. Always does it the bull market, you said bear. Always does it during the bull market, you said bear, Jeb. I'm not sure what you meant there, Dre. I was talking about how I was concerned about Bitcoin having a fallover. It's 30% for YouTube. Okay, it's at 30% for YouTube, 70% for creator. Okay, gotcha. Inverse head and shoulders pattern forming now, Jeb. Steph, that's a great question. That is something that I've noticed, and it is something that we're going to talk about. I did not miss that. We're going to look at that here in a little bit. Right now, we're going to look at the chat for a bit, though. Crash, McLovin. Hey, McLovin, you're an old face. Good to see you, my dude. Master Bash says, "Hey Jeff, I'm sorry." Says, "Sorry, I'm late." No problem. I promise you, I won't be upset. Guys, if you are enjoying the live stream and you are enjoying what Bitcoin is doing today, make sure you smash that like button. Let's see if we can get to 50 likes. I know if you guys pull your weight that we can do it. So go ahead and smash those likes. Let's go ahead and look here at what he was talking about with the 15-minute inverse head and shoulders pattern forming. Part of the reason I haven't already talked about it is because it's better if we just Venmo you, or you could just send it in Bitcoin. You know, we are kind of commentating on an entire currency right here. Bitcoin is currently looking like it is trying to make some kind of inverse head and shoulders pattern. Now, I'll be honest with you, this may be one of the ugliest inverse head and shoulders patterns I've ever seen in my entire life, guys, and I've seen some pretty ugly stuff. I mean, I have mirrors all over my house. I see it all the time. This is even uglier than what I see in the mirror, guys, and that's saying a lot. I mean, let's be honest here. Bitcoin is very clearly breaking bullish right now. I'll go ahead and show you another thing that I saw. But this inverse head and shoulders pattern, jokes aside, could be pretty bullish for Bitcoin. One thing I do want to mention also is that we did break bullish out of a kind of pseudo consolidation pattern earlier on today. You could kind of draw this like this, this pattern like this on the 15-minute chart right there. Over the last 45 minutes to an hour, we have broken bullish out of that. McLovin said, "What's up, Jeb? Hope you're doing well, my friend." I am doing great, guys. The last 2 days have been absolutely phenomenal. I've been really, really having a lot of fun. I'm very much looking forward to the future. I was already looking forward to the future. The channel's been doing very well, but I'm very happy, guys. I'm very happy to say that. And I hope you guys are too. Tell me in the chat how you guys are doing, not only in your trades, but also in your personal life. I mean, I don't want you to, someone said pounds on desk. I don't want you guys to divulge everything here on the chat, but I would be interested to hear if you guys are doing well. Let's look in here to the minute chart because it looks like Bitcoin is dumping. You guys have heard me talking bearish things about Bitcoin, and the elephant in the room is this little rally that we've seen here over the last 2 hours. So we're going to be addressing that, but it's pretty funny that here at the outset of the live stream, we have Bitcoin crashing. Not really crashing, but with how quick it's moving, it definitely does look like one. Guys, at the outset of this, I do want to remind you that this live stream is about 20 seconds delayed. Make sure you have your own charts up so you can catch price action on the very second that it happens. I will be commentating this, but if you're trying to make trades here, don't base your trades off of this video. Make sure you have your own chat up, or your own chart up, so that you don't miss anything. Master Bash says, you're so funny, Jeb. Oh, well, thank you. Oh, yes, I am the funniest person on planet Earth, guys. I actually got an award for that back in 1776, yeah. I told Congress that, you guys should just start a revolution, say screw Britain, and then they actually did it. Can you believe that? They actually listened to me. I'm where America came from. Lol, thanks, 20 EMA. Yeah, let's bring the 20 exponential moving average up here. I think I saw a signal on this a second ago. Yep, that's where I saw it. It was on the hourly chart. I was right. If we look at the 20 exponential moving average here on the hourly chart, we can see that we were rejecting off of this. I got caught up in the weeds talking to chat. I meant to mention this earlier, but we were rejecting off of this. I'll try to do better next time, guys. I do apologize. But Bitcoin does look like it was kind of rejecting off of $10,200, as that's where the hourly 20 EMA is. And I don't know what it is, guys. I have a gut feeling that there's another exponential moving average like the 200 sitting somewhere important. I have no idea where it is. I just have a weird feeling. I'm going to look for it. I have not proofed this. I don't know what chart it might be on. Okay, maybe I'm wrong, but I just had a random feeling that the 200... Okay, there you go, on the 5-minute. There's another YouTuber, I think it was... I want to give credit where credit's due. I think it was Crown, said there's a moving average for everything, so I'm obviously not taking credit for that. This is just something interesting. I just had a weird feeling that would show up somewhere. Anyway, let's keep looking at the minute chart, and while this crashes, I don't really want to take the screen off of this because I want to make sure you guys can see what's going on. I'm going to catch up on chat because there's been a few things happening. Don Johnson says, it's Jeb's minions at it again, creating excitement for his channel. You dang right, guys. Hey, guys! Crash it farther! Below 10,000. Thank you. Okay, they're working on it. Emery says, I'm busy with the trip to San Diego for 6 months, so a lot of fun stuff. Dude, that's awesome. The farthest west I've been has been the Great Rocky Mountains, and they are beautiful. I want to see California next. Definitely wouldn't live in California because I don't want to pay like 15% income tax to the state, let alone the government. But I would definitely love to visit California. It's beautiful out there, I've heard. Lance Guy said, hey Jeb, FYI, blue text, blue lines, anything blue is partially blocked by the blue light filters in modern displays, ranging from the phones in your pockets to PC screens and 4K televisions. You're absolutely right. And guys, I'm going to nerd out on you for a little bit because the reason that screens block those out is because blue light in your monitor stimulates the production of melatonin, which is serotonin, which is a chemical that wakes you up, which is why if you don't have a phone or a monitor like I do that has a blue light filter on it, a lot of phones and monitors, and I think Windows 10 even comes with this standard now, if you don't have that, make sure you put a blue light filter on your phones before you're going to sleep, or you're not going to get any sleep. I nearly passed out the first day that I did that because I didn't have all the blue light coming into my eyes, and melatonin production was not inhibited. And for the people that want to know the science behind that, the reason that it works like that is because your body's circadian rhythm gets signals to start producing serotonin and stop producing melatonin, melatonin being the sleep chemical, serotonin being one of the awake chemicals, with blue light, which is normally coming from the sun, but in the last 30 years or so, it comes from screens. So there you go. Someone said, wow, that joke was so bad. Yeah, Free Hat, that was an absolutely terrible joke. I agree, it was. Yeah, no, that didn't happen in 1776. That actually happened in 1066. Yeah. It wasn't about America, it was about Britain. All right, guys, let's watch this for just another minute or two. I promise we're going to get into a little bit more technical analysis here. I just want to keep up on chat. If there's anything you guys want to get my attention on, now would be the time to do it because I'm about to go off on another one of my sugar-induced rants. Bitcoin's way just valuable to donate. Lol, Venmo is more convenient. I'll just send you $5 right now. Oh, thank you. What's the target? Absolutely. We'll look at that here in just 1 second. Someone said 1 month bull pennant. Absolutely. Yeah, that's what it's starting to look like. We're going to look at that here in a second also. I don't really want to take my eyes off the chart right now, so I'm going to look at chat for a little bit because, like I said, Bitcoin is moving, and I don't really want to miss anything. Excuse me. Get the burps, guys. I got to stop drinking root beer while I'm live streaming. It makes it so much harder trying to talk. I'm mad. Free Hat, I saw that before you retracted. What did Jeff say we're going down to, guys? Yes or no? I would love to hear Jeff's opinion on that. He sounds like a swell guy. Jeb, on the other hand, says that Bitcoin's probably going back to $10,000, judging by the look of the last 10 minutes here on the 1 minute chart. But honestly, guys, it might not happen today. It might not happen in the next week. But I'm still feeling a $9,000 Bitcoin, guys. I'm feeling it. I really am. That's what I'm feeling. I've been saying it for a while that it wants to go down to that 20 EMA on the weekly chart. And people have either just been brushing it off or ignoring me, or even going so far as to say I'm wrong and saying I'm stupid and stuff. We're gonna see what happens. I might be wrong. I've been wrong in the past, and I'll be wrong in the future, just the same way as all of us. But it definitely looks like that. Someone said, what does the Heikinashi look like right now? Great question. If you guys are in the Academy, then you will know about Heikinashi, how to use Heikinashi candlestick charts here, and also Introduction to Candlestick Analysis. In both of those videos, we discuss Heikinashi. Heikinashi is one of my favorite types of candlesticks. I don't use it very often on stream or on the channel because I kind of keep it to myself, guys. I got to keep some of my secrets for the Academy. I can't give you everything on YouTube, but I guess we'll talk about Heikinashi for a little while. As you guys can see, if you guys don't know what Heikinashi is, essentially what it is, I'm not going to get into the way it's calculated right now. It's not that complicated, but essentially it's a way of visualizing whether or not Bitcoin is in an uptrend or a downtrend, seeing when that reversal has happened. I'm not going to get into everything because that's what the Academy is for, guys. If you want to join the Academy and learn everything about technical analysis all in one place, check that out in the link in the description. There is a $40 off coupon code. Free Hat said PG-13 question mark lol. Well, there's a reason I don't curse on stream. I'm not necessarily gonna be a morality police in the chat, but I do appreciate it, Free Hat. Let's see here. It makes sense that BTC goes down further during accumulation by BACT since they will settle contracts in actual Bitcoin. Jose, that's a good point, but to be totally honest, BACT is going to be buying so much Bitcoin that I don't know if they're buying it on exchange or not. They might be buying all of their Bitcoin, or at least a large amount of it, on over-the-counter markets. And if you guys don't know what an OTC market is, essentially that's a market that does not have an exchange behind it. That's like if you want to buy 100,000 Bitcoin, you're probably not going to go to Binance. Or excuse me, you're probably not going to go to, well, you might go to Coinbase, but you're probably not going to go to like Gemini or Kraken or something. You're probably going to go to someone who has 100,000 Bitcoin that they're trying to sell. That's what's called the over-the-counter markets. And when you make trades like that, there's no order books in those markets, so those kind of trades don't move markets. In theory, if someone wanted to crash Bitcoin to the floor, they could go buy $10 billion worth of Bitcoin on OTC, sell it on exchange, get the money out, do the same thing. They'd lose billions of dollars, but they could theoretically crash Bitcoin like that. Anyway, staying with the theme of Bitcoin's Heikinashi chart here, as you guys can see, let me adjust my chair a little bit. As you guys can see here, Heikinashi did turn bullish for a few days. And in that same time, we were seeing a bullish, some bullish convergence on the MACD, which is why for the last couple of days I've been a little bit more bullish. But like I said, guys, in the day before yesterday's live stream on Monday and in the last few videos, I've been saying, guys, I want more confirmation. I want to see Bitcoin break this red uptrend right here. I'll look at that again in a little bit. I've been waiting for more confirmation. I've been saying, guys, I need to see the bullish cross on the daily MACD. I'm not convinced yet. You don't know how many times I have told you guys that Bitcoin is innocent until proven guilty. And right now it is innocently bearish, and we haven't proven it guilty of being bullish yet. So because we haven't done that, I was always kind of erring on the side of bearishness, waiting for confirmation, hoping for confirmation. But at the end of the day, my gut has been telling me this entire time that Bitcoin is looking at a $9,000 Bitcoin. We'll see if that comes to pass. Maybe Bitcoin doesn't fall that far. Maybe it only comes back down to 10K and we bounce from here. Maybe Bitcoin only goes down to 9.5. Point is, I'm not convinced that Bitcoin's out of the woods yet, but I think we're getting closer. I think we're past the halfway point, put it that way. Anyway, looking at some more technical analysis, people are talking about long-term pennants, so I want to go ahead and look at those as well. Guys, if you are new to the channel, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. Your name's going to flash up on screen, and I will give you guys a shout-out personally. And also, if you do subscribe to the channel, or if you are already subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that post notification bell so you'll be updated when new videos go live and when new live streams start. So guys, make sure you do that. And also, let's see if we can get those likes above 50. Guys, come on. I know there's a couple of you not pulling your weight. I know you guys have the ability to hit that like button. If you're enjoying the video, make sure you do that. XRP Florida said, Jeb, when are you finally going to admit that you never miss an episode of 90 Day Fiancé? Never. Never. Anyway, back to what we were talking about. Bitcoin looks like it is in a long-term pennant here, and this really does look like a bull flag. I'm not going to waver from the point that I've been making that Bitcoin seems like it wants to go down to the 20 exponential moving average. That's the 200. Let's fix that. I'm not going to waver from the point that I think Bitcoin wants to come down here to 9,000, and I'm not the only one making that call, but I have been making that call for the last like 2 or 3 weeks. But at the same time, Bitcoin, if it doesn't do that, or even if it does do that, guys, I'm going to switch to a cleaner chart here. That wasn't much cleaner. We're going to switch to, you know what, we'll just stay on this chart. All my other charts have all kinds of TA on them also. Oh my, guys, I'm a litter bug with my charts. Anyway, the point I'm making here is that Bitcoin was in an uptrend for like 4 months, guys. From February February the 7th that rally started, we had the April Fool's rally that Bitcoin jumped like 20%. And ever since then, ever since Bitcoin hit 14K up here, we've been in this consolidation pattern with a downtrend right here and an uptrend right here. We've just kind of been biding our time, seeing what's happening. And I don't know how my colors got inverted here. Red's resistance, blue is support, Jeb. You ought to know this. This is standard operating procedure. What am I doing here? Goodness gracious. Anyway, Bitcoin does look like it's in a longer-term consolidation pattern here with a bottom here with some levels of support. If we go ahead and draw this, then we can see that what Bitcoin did today did actually establish a level of support on it. And that right here, where Bitcoin bottomed out right now, does look like a bounce off of the bottom down here, which is one of the reasons why I want to see Bitcoin bounce here. It's one of the reasons why I'm feeling that Bitcoin needs to Bitcoin needs to put a bottom in here, and that what Bitcoin did this morning, it needs to be a bottom, because if it isn't, then it's probably indicative that Bitcoin is going to go lower. If you guys don't want Bitcoin to go below $9,500 and all the way down to $9,000, then you're going to want Bitcoin not to break this uptrend right here. This one right here, I don't think I can make that any bolder. I will try, I can't. But that one right there is a very important one. I'm going to get rid of a few more of these lines. That's 10K. All of this stuff right here, I'll move this for a second. This uptrend right here, I'll get rid of this over here as well. And also this box. I have all kinds of TA on here I don't need, guys. Anyway, point is, Bitcoin being above this uptrend right here, this one right here, Bitcoin wants to stay above that. If it doesn't stay above that, it's probably going to not only fall below $10,000, which would be a break of that uptrend, it's probably also going to result in Bitcoin pulling back. So keep that in mind. I want to say that. Someone said, yes, Jeb, Bitcoin is drunk and we'll miss out on altcoin season. Maybe. Bitcoin is acting a little bit tipsy, isn't it? Acting a little weird. Let us see here. What are the odds Bitcoin will crash in September with backed? December 17th ETF launch crash Bitcoin. I think you don't mean an ETF because there is not a Bitcoin ETF. I think you mean CME futures. We'll talk about that for a second. Let's talk about backed, guys. Let's go. Give me a 1 in the chat if you want to hear some information about backed. And like I said, guys, make sure you smash those likes and grab a friend. Let's see if we can get up to 200 viewers. I would love to see that. We're streaming a little bit earlier in the day, so a lot of people aren't off work yet. Take a sip of the nectar of the gods known as A&W root beer. Anyway, you mentioned the ETF in December 17th. I think you meant the CME futures. So let's go ahead and look at Bitcoin 1 exclamation mark, which is CME futures, Bitcoin on CME futures. That was launched on December the 17th. And as you guys can see here, this chart of CME futures is obviously, there's not a whole lot of history to this. This starts back here on the 17th, and before that, there's no history. That's because CME Futures launched Bitcoin trading on the 17th. And guys, guess what? If you look at a chart of Bitcoin, what are we going to find? Well, Bitcoin hit all-time high, $20,000 on the 17th of December. Now, what that means is that there's been a lot of conversation over the last year and a half as to whether or not a lot of you guys have dived into that opinion before as well. I want to address that, because it's very important that you guys understand how different financial instruments in traditional finance markets work, how they operate, and how they move markets. Futures don't necessarily cause a market to crash. And you might think, well, Jeb, look at when futures launched. They launched here on the 17th of December in 2017, and that very same day, Bitcoin crashed. The Bitcoin bear market started. Don't CME futures and don't futures on Bitcoin in general cause crashes? Well, I would argue no, they don't, or not necessarily because of that argument. If they do, then it's going to be because of another argument. But guys, keep in mind, Bitcoin had been in a bull market for 2.5 years. We started the bull market back here halfway through October 2015. Bitcoin ended the bull market in December of 2017. So it was a little over 2 years that Bitcoin was in a bull market. It was about 26, 27 months. Guys, Bitcoin was overextended. If you go back on this channel, do it right now. Go back on this channel. Look at the first video I ever published on this channel. It's called, Is Bitcoin Overextended? That video was posted right here on the 17th of November. Guys, guess what? In that video, I was saying Bitcoin is overextended. Bitcoin did not get the pullback it needed. And if Bitcoin does not have a pullback, then we're probably going to see Bitcoin rally more, and we're probably going to see a big pullback later. If you go and look on, I may still have this on the BTC USD I think it's on the Bitstamp chart. I think I still have technical analysis from all the way back then. I do. Look, it's still here. I never got rid of this, guys. This is what I'm talking about. I still have this technical analysis on this chart. This is live. You guys know I didn't stage that. This is live. And if you guys go back and watch videos, whenever I go on the Bitstamp chart, this is here. This is old technical analysis from when I was just getting into the markets and when I just started the YouTube channel. And you can see here, I drawn this inverse head and shoulders pattern right here with my ugly color and the thin lines before I realized that, oh, charts don't have to look absolutely terrible. And I did all this TA, and I had this at the top at $10,000 because I was expecting, you know, Bitcoin, after it didn't have a proper correction right here, it was going to go to 10K and it was going to pull back and the bear market was going to start. Well, I was right. I just wasn't right about the top. Instead of 10,000, it was 20,000, and Bitcoin, exactly as I thought it was going to, went into a bear market. Guys, the writing was on the wall before Bitcoin hit before Bitcoin hit $20,000. The writing was on the wall before CME futures launched. Bitcoin was overdue, and overdue by a lot. That is not how you find it. And overdue for a lot for a Bitcoin bear market. There were, I mean, all the signs were there, guys. It was unmistakable. So with that in mind, I don't think that CME futures caused a crash on Bitcoin. So I don't necessarily think that we should worry about BACT causing a crash on Bitcoin. In fact, what I would say, is that BACT is probably going to be a bullish development for Bitcoin. In fact, I would say it's going to be an extremely bullish development for Bitcoin. Give me 1 second, guys. And the reason for that is simply because, guys, BACT is a massive, massive deal. The reason it's a massive deal is because they're owned by ICE. ICE, the Intercontinental Exchange, owns the New York Stock Exchange, NYSE. NYSE is worth $23 trillion. I know if you guys have been in the stream for a while, you've been watching the channel, that I'm repeating myself, but for people who may not be familiar, then that's a big deal, because that is going to drive a lot of traffic into Bitcoin. And by the way, I am watching the price. Nothing's really happening on Bitcoin right now. We're at $10,163. But the reason that everybody's so hyped for BACT is because it's one of the first institutional on-ramps for Bitcoin. It's one of the first retail investor on-ramps for Bitcoin that is a well-regulated and traditionally established exchange like BACT will be. There's a lot of exchanges in the cryptocurrency market, but they're not regulated in the exact same way as stock exchanges are in America. They're frankly a lot less formal, and even though we're kind of ending the Wild West era of Bitcoin, it's still viewed that way by a lot of people outside. So when you see something like BACT go live, that brings a lot of trust into this ecosystem. That's a very big deal. It's not just about whether or not futures and that type of trade crash or rally Bitcoin. It's not just about that. It's about the attention that will be brought to Bitcoin. And I've said this ever since BACT was announced back over here in August. It was like August the 10th or something, right over here, right in there. When BACT was announced about almost exactly 1 year ago right now. I've been saying that the reason it's going to be a big deal is because of all the attention that it's going to bring Bitcoin. I've been saying that for a year. Everybody's been saying that. It wasn't just me. And that's huge. There is so much attention that's coming from that. So it's not just whether or not futures are good for Bitcoin, because it's more than that. It's also a question of how much attention do we want on Bitcoin, and how good for Bitcoin is that attention? What kind of attention are we getting? And there's a lot of good attention coming from BACT, coming from a lot of people with very, very deep pockets. So keep all of that in mind, guys. I am very, very excited for BACT to be launching. Jeb, can you confirm this info I heard? Is it true that 3% of crypto wallets hold 95% of all crypto coins? I heard that, and that sounds absolutely ridiculously unfair. I can't confirm that because I've never heard that statistic, but to be quite honest, that wouldn't surprise me, because that statistic, to make the statistic look really bad, is probably including exchange wallets, and exchanges hold hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin, not hundreds of thousands of dollars of Bitcoin. They hold hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin, hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin, but that doesn't mean that they have that Bitcoin. That just means that they're holding it and that they owe that Bitcoin to their users. So if you were to take out exchanges from that equation, the ratio would probably be more like 20%. The top 20% own 80% or something like that. It wouldn't be as ridiculous of a number if you take exchanges out of that. There's obviously going to be a certain hierarchy to who owns how much Bitcoin, but I don't think it's that drastic. Julian said, priced in theory, recently Litecoin halving. Yes, I already know what you're going to say. You're absolutely right. Litecoin halving had a lot of hype around it. I've talked about this many times on the channel. People were getting ridiculously hyped for the Litecoin halving, and guys, guess what? By the time the Litecoin halving happened, Litecoin was in the middle of a crash, because the Litecoin halving happened about sometime about almost exactly a month ago now. God, I can't believe it's been that long. And Litecoin's price action had already priced in the fact that there was going to be a rally. There was already a crazy amount of exuberance. There was already a gigantic rally in Litecoin. And by the time the Litecoin halving itself happened, everybody who was interested in making a trade had already traded off of it. You buy the news, you buy the rumor and you sell the news. The rumor that the Litecoin halving was coming, of course it wasn't a rumor, but you know what I mean. A lot of people traded that, and then what they did is that they sold the news. They sold up here at these highs, up here at $140, $150, and they made a killing, guys. People were making like 5x without leverage on some of these trades. So people made hundreds of thousands of dollars on Litecoin in the last couple of months. So what I think you're talking about also is with Backed is that, yeah, I agree with you. We're probably going to see a lot of the hype for Backed come here over the next couple of weeks, and when Backed finally does launch, it might actually be a red day that it launches. I remember when Backed was announced. We can go back here on Bitcoin's history, and I'll try to remember the exact day. I'll tell you the exact day. If we look back in the news, I bet you it was August the 4th. Let me see that. Backed. And last year when this went live, I'd have to go back on the YouTube channel to find it maybe. But I remember this, guys. I want to say it was August the 4th, because I remember this big candlestick right here. I think it was. And it just so happened that the biggest news story of the entire year, Backed, Bitcoin crashed like 5-10% that day. Because news is important, but the technicals are more important. And, you know, news is very important, but at the same time, you have to make sure you understand your technical analysis. Oh, excuse me. I'm running out of breath, guys. When you talk for 40 minutes straight, even though I talk too much anyway, you run out of breath a little bit. Raul Dominguez says, do you think investors with Backed will buy on these prices? Not necessarily. No, I don't necessarily think that. For the long term, if you're saying investor, if we're talking about traditional finance markets and traditional markets like what Backed is kind of bridging a gap between, investor means you're buying and you're holding for over a year, because investing means that you're going to be cashing out and paying long-term capital gains taxes as opposed to short-term capital gains taxes as you paid on a trade. So if you're talking about investors, yes, I think that people that are investing in Bitcoin for the long term, they will absolutely buy in on these prices. As far as people that are working on the exchange and trading on the exchange, if you're calling them investors, no, not necessarily, guys. I don't think that there's going to be much of a difference in the culture behind Backed than there is in the cryptocurrency market. I think there will be some, because I think the majority of people on Backed are probably going to be Wall Street folk who may have a different take on Bitcoin than we do, but I don't necessarily think that they're going to be buying a ton of Bitcoin right now, because I think a lot of people that are in Wall Street and that do trade the traditional finance markets and perhaps Bitcoin every day, they're going to see the same writing on the wall that I do, and that is that the technicals aren't looking great right now, and it does look like Bitcoin's going to pull back. But anyway, guys, if you are enjoying the live stream, make sure you go ahead and smash that like button. Let's see if we can get to 100 likes. And also, if any of you guys are new here, make sure you smash that subscribe button. Your name will flash up on screen, and I will give you a shout-out. We started a little bit early today because I had to go ahead and get the live stream done before I was preoccupied later, so not as many of you guys have managed to tune in. A lot of you guys are probably still at work. I do apologize for that. We will have a live stream tomorrow as well, probably at the normal time. I can't guarantee that. Friday's live stream will also be early, though, or it might be delayed till Saturday, but it's probably going to be on. It's probably going to be earlier on Friday. Let's see here. Looks like it'd be a bear flag forming. Yeah, let's look at the. I noticed that on like the 5-minute or the 3 or 5 minute. That's kind of what I was talking about a little while ago with this downtrend right here, and with this uptrend right here. It doesn't really look great on this chart because we kind of break it, but if you look at the 15-minute chart, you turn this bottom down here into a wick, then this really does look like it was a consolidation pattern and potentially a bear flag. And surprisingly enough, Bitcoin broke bullish out of this. So even though I'm still concerned about the longer-term technical, or excuse me, not the longer-term technicals, the shorter-term technicals on Bitcoin, we have broken bullish, so I'm happy about that. The Late Adopter says, how can you say technicals don't look that good? RSI, MACD, weekly, monthly, it's insanely good. I'm going to contest you on that, because if we look at the monthly chart, well, the MACD is bullish on the monthly chart, excuse me, not the monthly chart, the weekly chart. MACD looks absolutely atrocious on the weekly chart, and also MACD, not only is it converging on itself, we're probably going to have the cross at the end of this week, which would be horrible timing because it could help drive Bitcoin below this consolidation pattern and this long-term bull flag we've been in for the last 2 months. Also, RSI is pointed to the downside. We're starting to move to the downside, which looks healthy. That might be indicative that we have more room to run. I will be with you on that. The monthly chart looks amazing. And guys, late adopter and for everyone else, I want to make myself very clear. The long-term technicals that the monthly chart are telling us about right here, I'm ridiculously bullish on the long-term technicals. It's the shorter-term technicals I'm concerned of. It's what's going to happen for the next week or two that I'm concerned about. I don't think that Bitcoin is about to end the bear market, but I would not be surprised if Bitcoin dropped another $1,000. It does that in a day all the time. I mean, guys, seriously, if I had a dime for every single time Bitcoin crashed $1,000 in a day, I'd have, like, you know, a bunch of dimes. You know, that happened literally yesterday. We crashed $960 in 14 hours. It's not even that big of a deal in Bitcoin. You know, let's go ahead and look here at the, your brain, you mentioned something. Let's go ahead and look at what you said there. Because I've definitely been wrong in the past. I want to look at BLX. For some reason, it is not in my watch list over here. My watch list always gets rearranged, and it's so annoying because I have so many things I'm watching. Oh, it got moved all the way down there. Of course it did. Let's move that back up here. Anyway, yeah, let's look at the pattern you're talking about. I want to read that again. Let's see. You said, no, weekly MACD looks good. Check MACD for last bull run. MACD has almost never crossed hard down. Okay, well, if you're talking about that, that's part of the reason I'm concerned, is because if we do look here at the MACD during the last bull market on the weekly chart, then you're right. It almost never had a hard crash down. It normally kind of traded sideways. We saw one right here, but in general, the MACD during the bull market would not cross bearish in the first place. We saw one cross and like half a cross over here. It basically just converged on itself, and the histogram is basically a 0. Right now, the thing that concerns me is that it looks like it's probably going to cross. Now, it might not be the end of the world. If Bitcoin starts falling dramatically, it will. What I really want to see here is for Bitcoin to put in a green weekly candlestick here, and for this to kind of skirt off itself, and for the MACD line to get support on the signal line. That's what I'd like to see. If I can see that, I'm going to feel a lot happier about Bitcoin. XRP says, imagine how fast Jeb could talk after. Nose 8 ball. Nose 8 ball. Yes, guys, if I put an 8 ball up my nose, I bet I'd be able to talk pretty fast. I was playing pool yesterday, so maybe I'd do that. You guys probably don't know this about me. I love pool. I have, everywhere I go, there's a pool cue in the back of my truck. Free hat, I am not reading your joke because that was unoriginal. Come on, dude. That's like the oldest joke in the book. And guys, I'll be honest with you, I'm feeling real good today, and I kind of just want to hang out a little bit. Tell me in the chat if there's anything you want me to look at. What I'm going to do is I'm kind of going to just do some technical analysis and give you guys my feedback on whatever you guys want me to look at. So give me something that you'd like to look at in the chat. Tell me what you're thinking. And I'll look at it here on stream. I'll give you a shout out. And guys, like I said, go ahead and smash that like button and make sure that you hit that notification bell if you're already subscribed. And if you aren't, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I don't know what you're doing with your life if you're not subscribed to the channel, my friend. Free hat, I really wanted to laugh at that joke, but I've seen that joke so many times, it just makes me roll my eyes now. I mean, that's every single meme. I could probably scroll up here in the Discord server and find that meme. By the way, guys, if you're not in the Discord server, make sure you join. The link is in the description. I'd love to see you guys over there. But yeah, Bitcoin's just not doing a whole lot right now. Someone was making a joke earlier about me telling my minions to move Bitcoin again. I told them to. They're not listening. Unfortunately, Bitcoin's not doing a whole lot. Let's see here. Oh. Guys, I'm very tired. My voice is giving out. I don't know if I can keep talking this fast for this long. I gotta, like, train my breath. I'm constantly out of breath. It's ridiculous. Your thoughts on price before entering 2020? Good question. Good question. My thoughts on price before entering 2020. I was about to put my hand on top of my microphone to rest it. That's probably not a great place for me to put my hand. Sorry for hurting your ears there. Guys, right over here, let's go ahead and put a vertical line here at 2020. Right about there. That is January the 1st, 2020. And guys, this is a very important date because that's the beginning of the new year. Not only is the beginning of the new year, it's the beginning of the new decade. And I hope you guys are looking forward to having an amazing decade. I think it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. I think it's going to be fantastic. And where I think Bitcoin's going to be by then, frankly, I think Bitcoin's probably going to be above its current yearly high of $14,000 and probably below $20,000. We'll see. Bitcoin could very easily be above $20,000, but in general, I think we'll be above 10, probably above 14 and below 20. So that range is relatively large, and it has to be, but somewhere in here, I have a feeling this is where we're going to top the year out at, because I don't really feel that Bitcoin is bearish enough to warrant a crash below the weekly 20 EMA and like re-enter a bear market or anything. But I could see Bitcoin trading sideways for the next several months. I could see something like that happening. What do I think about the gap roughly at $8,000 if you look at the futures chart? That's something we've talked about quite a bit, Florian. I'll go ahead and mention again because I haven't talked about it during the live stream. Looks like someone just subscribed to the channel. Oh, no, I just had a pop-up on my screen. Never mind. Well, somebody, now you have to subscribe to the channel so I can give you a shout-out, and it don't look like I'm an idiot. Anyway, as far as the gap is concerned, I'll go ahead and show you guys. I know what he's talking about because I've looked at it a lot. If we go back to CME futures, right around $8,500, there is going to be a gap here. And what that means is that CME futures closed and it opened and Bitcoin had moved. Right here, as you can see, I'll zoom out a little bit. Right here, as you can see, there is a gap that formed back here in June. From right here to right there's a gap. If we look over here, there's no price action in front of that. That is what is known as a gap. And guys, if you look at stock market charts, you see gaps all the time. If we go over to the S&P 500, you see them all the time. Look at the gaps between these candlesticks. Those occur because there is trading that happens in post-market hours and pre-market hours like we are now. But in cryptocurrency markets, they don't happen a whole lot. As you can see here, all the candlesticks are connected the way they look best. On the Bitcoin over US dollar charts. But CME futures, they're not a traditional exchange, so they don't trade all day. They don't trade for 24 hours a day. They do close their doors every once in a while. And during the time that they were closed, Bitcoin rallied and it left a gap. And the reason that's important is because, guys, normally in traditional markets, in the S&P 500, in other indices, in bonds, and in all of these other markets, when the market leaves a gap, it is pretty much every single time filled. And what a gap means that to be filled is that you can see there was a gap right down here, and Bitcoin crashed to fill it, and then we rallied back up. Normally in traditional markets, you're going to see gaps get filled. You might see a gap up or a gap down, and then something happens on the market that fills those. On the S&P 500, I've heard people say that literally every single gap in the history of the S&P 500 has been filled. I don't know if that's true because I am not about to go look at the entire history of the S&P 500, but that's what they say. Point is, it normally gets filled. This one has not been. So that begs the question, is Bitcoin going to have a crash down here to $8,500 to go ahead and close this gap as would normally happen, or are we going to put a bottom in and continue higher? This could be a reason that Bitcoin would go down to $8,000 to $8,500. So as for my opinion on this, since that's what you asked, no, I don't think this gap is going to get filled. I really don't. If this gap does get filled, it would probably be very bad for Bitcoin. In fact, I think it would be bordering on catastrophic for Bitcoin. And the reason I say that is because of the 20 EMA. The 20 EMA on CME futures is around $9,100, but the chart everyone else looks at is around $9,000. If Bitcoin falls below this, it wouldn't be catastrophic, but it would be very bad. And the reason for that is because, guys, Bitcoin always bounces off of the 20 EMA. If you're in the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, there's a new video that's been made for CT2A that's going to be here at the Introduction to Technical Indicators. And in that video, we talk about how to spot a winning technical indicator and how to spot a winning pattern on that technical indicator. If you guys aren't in CT2A, by the way, I do highly recommend checking the link in the description. There's a $40 off coupon code that will be active for another 5 days. So make sure you go ahead and join us over there. But guys, we were talking about how to find a winning pattern in that new video that will be going out probably on Monday. And in that video, I used the 20 EMA as an example. Bitcoin always gets support on it. I mean, what I was saying in that video is that the history of a technical indicator is very important, and it's also very important how many people look at that technical indicator and how much valuation is traded based off of that technical indicator. And the 20 EMA has both of those, which is why it's so powerful and why I use it so much. Bitcoin likes coming down here and testing it as support and bouncing off of it and rallying higher. And guys, Bitcoin does not fall below it. We see Wixes down below it, and yes, I know I'm triggering you guys by saying Wixes. I realize that's not proper grammar. Sometimes Bitcoin does have a wick below it. Sometimes Bitcoin does wick down below it for a little while, but in general, Bitcoin doesn't fall below it. So it would be very concerning to me that if Bitcoin, started falling through the 20 EMA, because the only time that happens is at the start of a bear market. And guys, I don't know about you, but I don't really feel like going into another bear market right now. Maybe that's just me. Emery says, like the live stream, guys and girls. Yeah, go ahead and smash those likes. Let's see if we can get to 100. We're probably going to go for another 20, 30 minutes or so. Julian said, this just in, Gap Clothing is now sponsoring Bitcoin. Fall in the gap, Kappa. Kappa Pride. Free Hat said, Jeb, tell us something that will make us rich. Free Hat, here's how you get rich. You join C22A, you watch all the videos, you work your butt off, you learn how to trade these markets, you learn technical analysis, you get rich. You make a bunch of profitable trades. You just stick to the same thing every single day. You know what? I'll tell you how to get rich. Here's how you get rich. You visualize in your head, and you say, what do I want to do with my life? Where do I want to be 5, 10 years from now? Where do I want to be a year from now? You have to visualize your goal and say, what do I want to do? And be hyper-specific. I'm not just saying, oh, well, I want to be rich, and I want to have $1 million, and I want to have a nice family. I'm saying, I want this exact amount of money, I want this exact income, I want this exact lifestyle, this is the car I want to drive, down to the year, make, and model, this is the house I want to live in, the square footage, the cost of that house, this is the kind of woman I want, or the kind of man I want. 95% of you guys are male, so that's why I said woman. This is the kind of spouse I want, these are the kind of kids I want, this is the town I want to live in. If you want to get rich, whether it's monetarily or in experience, you have to be hyper-specific with what you want, because if you can visualize it, then you can have it, guys. You can't imagine something that you can't have, because if you can't have it, then it probably doesn't exist in the first place. You can have just about anything you put your mind to, so make sure you put your mind to it in the right way. If you do that with finances, and you imagine that, hey, I want to have 10 Bitcoin, you're going to get there, but I guarantee you it's going to take you longer than you think it will. So make sure you're visualizing what you want, make sure you have a very clear understanding of what you want, and then start reversing time and saying, what do I have to do to get there? How am I going to get to 10 Bitcoin? How am I going to get to 100 Bitcoin? How am I going to get to having a duet with Chad Kroeger? How am I going to get to being Avril Lavigne's boyfriend? How am I going to do it? Okay, you figure out what you want, and then you start backwards extrapolating how you're going to get there. So that's how you do that. Has nothing to do with technical analysis. I mean, technical analysis is a tool, but if you don't have the mindset, then it's not even very useful, to be totally honest. If you know how to make money, but you don't know how to if you know how to make money, but you don't know how to keep that money, and you don't know why you're trying to make that money, you're not going to make the money. And if you get the money, you're not going to keep the money. Jeb, what are your thoughts on Cardano? So many people are bullish on it. It's so cheap now in US dollars. Yeah, I've been looking at Cardano a lot. You guys have been wanting me to do technical analysis on it all the time. I'm not very bullish on Cardano at all. To be quite honest with you, you saying it's cheap, that's not a good thing to me. I don't want an investment to be cheap. I don't trade penny stocks. I don't trade penny altcoins. And the reason for that is because they're unproven. And Cardano, if you look at the chart, I don't want to take my eyes off Bitcoin right now, but if you look at the Cardano chart, it's been crashing and crashing and crashing forever. Just because something is at a very low price compared to all-time high does not mean that it's undervalued. Understand that. Just because something's valued very lowly does not mean that it's undervalued. Crypto Jeb Sunny Decrease says on Twitter that Bitcoin building higher lows at the moment. He's absolutely right. For right now, Bitcoin is building higher lows. Bitcoin is building higher lows. That's what I was talking about with the uptrend that we don't want to see Bitcoin break. He's completely right. This uptrend right here that we have drawn on the chart is an example of that. We have a low here, a low here, a low here, and a low here. If Bitcoin can get a sustained bounce over the next couple of days, we'll be all right. But let me tell you something, guys. In these consolidation patterns, I do apologize. In these consolidation patterns, normally what you'd like to see is that the bulls, guys, normally if you know enough about technical analysis, you can predict which way a consolidation pattern is going to break out before it breaks out, if the breakout is as a result of technical analysis. Sometimes it's a result of news, or sometimes it's a result of a whale. If it's not a result of those, and it's a result of technical analysis that you could have done, normally you can call that breakout. And let me tell you something. This right here, this rally, concerns me. The reason it concerns me, guys, is because normally in consolidation patterns, you rally all the way up to the level of resistance, then down to the support, resistance, break bullish. But if you're doing most of your trading down on the resistance level, check this out. When I draw it in a circle, it becomes very obvious. We only have this much trading against the resistance, but we have all of this trading against the support. Guys, I know some of you, give me a 1 if you're in the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. In, I forget what video it is. Actually, no, I do know what video it's in. It's in Support and Resistance. It's one of the first videos in the course. In this video, we talk about support and resistance, believe it or not, and one of the ways you can determine whether or not support or resistance is going to be broken, and we also talk about it later in gauging the strength of support and resistance. One of the ways you can determine whether or not a level of support or resistance is going to be broken is which one is being tested more, guys. If Bitcoin is testing resistance 80% of the time and if Bitcoin's testing support 80% of the time and testing resistance 20% of the time, I'll be honest with you, that doesn't really look good. It looks like Bitcoin's going to break the resistance, right? Because why would it be testing it so much? Exactly. I think you guys get what I'm saying. We got a couple ones coming out in the chat. If you guys are in CT2A, I do appreciate it. I hope you guys are having a great, wonderful, and informative time over there. As always, for any of my students, if you have any questions, concerns, comments, make sure you shoot me an email. I've talked to several people that are in the academy just today. If you need to get in touch with me, you can do so through Discord, or you can do so through my email, which is cryptojeb@gmail.com. If you go to the YouTube channel, then you can find that. I'm going to go ahead and close that before I start hearing feedback. You can go to the YouTube channel, and on the About page will be my email linked. So if you need to get in touch with me, go ahead and do that. If you guys aren't already in the Academy, I do highly recommend it. If you want, you can join the Discord server down below and talk to some of the people that are in the Academy or maybe in the chat and see what they think. Julian Soto said, off Twitter, in private, the president is now telling his campaign donors to expect a recession within the next year. Okay, well, I'm not going to do any analysis on that because I have no idea if that's true or not. But that's interesting. Looks like we just had a new subscriber. Let's go ahead and give a shout out there. Zarcom12345678 has subscribed to the channel. Welcome to the channel, my friend. Welcome to the live stream. I do hope you're having a fantastic day. Guys, I keep asking you guys, how are you doing with your trading? You haven't told me. Are you guys profitable today? Are you guys unprofitable today? Have you caught any good rallies, any breakouts that you want to talk about? Let me know. JMAMC Cayado, I am 972 years old. Yep. I was born in the Middle Ages. Let's see here. If you don't have capital for Get Bitcoin, I don't know about that, but be careful with Bitcoin if you don't. J-Mam says, I'm long, Jeb. I'm thinking about putting a long in. If Bitcoin can if Bitcoin can give me some evidence that it is putting a bottom in here, I'll go long. In fact, I'm kind of thinking about doing a long right now, even though I'm bearish. Understand that I'm thinking about putting a long in right now and having a tight stop loss below our uptrend of support. Because if Bitcoin breaks this, it's very easy to figure out where to put the stop loss. But if Bitcoin rallies all the way up here, it's a very good risk-to-reward ratio. I don't talk about this a lot on the channel because this is reserved for CT2A, but I'm going to talk about it here for a little bit. In how to plan and execute profitable trades, we had 4 or 5 ones earlier, people that are in the chat, that are in the Academy. In the course, we talk about risk and reward. And if you go ahead over here and you look for risk and long positions right here, not risk and reward, excuse me, you can calculate your risk-to-reward ratio. So let's look here. If we think Bitcoin's going to rally to, let's say, $11,300, and we think that it's only going to, and if it crashes below about $9,750, then we'll put a stop in, then that gives us a risk-to-reward ratio of 3. I like to have risk-to-reward ratios even higher than 3, like 4, 5, 6, 7. But at the moment, that's pretty, I mean, that's not a bad trade, even though I think it's going to break bearish. Because if you were to make this trade 100 times, say half the times Bitcoin rallies $3, and half the time Bitcoin crashes $1, then you're in a statistical profitability, even if you're not in profitability on that trade. So if you keep making trades, then you should end up profitable. So it's important that you keep that in mind. And like I said, that is something that is taught in the Academy. If you guys haven't checked it out, make sure you do so. The link is in the description. Landstrike Gaming said, if you're having to ask someone about buying something, then perhaps you shouldn't invest before doing more research on it yourself. You know, that's I try to say that in as nice a way as I possibly can. I'll say that. Are we not in a bigger wedge pattern that we do not see yet? No, Pierre, we are definitely in a bigger wedge pattern. We're just not looking at it at this very moment. As you can see, I have it drawn here on the chart. Bitcoin has a downtrend of resistance right now and an uptrend of support right here. I assume that's the one you're talking about. Tapley, hey Tapley, how are you doing? We traded live together in the Discord server a while ago. He said Bitcoin needs to prove that it can break solid out of this rising wedge right now. Let me go ahead and read this. Oh, guys, excuse me. I have to sneeze. Oh my gosh, I have to sneeze. Ah! Oh, guys, I do apologize. That was a sneeze and a half. Mario says, think it's a good time to hodl. Dude, it's always a good time to hodl. It is always a good time to hodl. It is never a bad time to hodl. Well, guys, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap the stream up here. It's been a little slow because we live streamed a little earlier. And, you know, it's okay. I like live streams like this where we can kind of just chill, just have a conversation. I've really enjoyed talking to you guys today. I really enjoyed doing some technical analysis. I do apologize because I think some people just tuned in and now I'm signing off. But guys, I do want to thank each and every one of you for watching as always. Make sure you smash that like button. And if you are new here, hit that subscribe button. I want to see us at 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We're probably not going to hit that, but we will definitely next year. I'm looking for that silver play button next year so that we can celebrate. We did have a new subscriber. Thank you for doing as I commanded. The Tinny J, subscribe to the channel. Welcome to the channel. Of course, I was joking. I wasn't commanding you. I asked nicely. No, excuse me. No, excuse me. BTC needs to test the weekly 20 weekly simple moving average. I think it's the EMA, but yeah. Emery says good night. Guys, it has been a pleasure. Make sure you check out CT2A if you haven't already. The sale will be running for another 5 days, so you don't have to join today, but make sure you check that out because time is fast running out on this sale, and the price will be rising relatively soon, so don't expect another sale at this price. There might be one more before the price increases, but there is a price increase coming in the next 2 months. So keep that in mind, that if you want to get into CT2A on these low prices with the amazing returns you'll get from what you'll learn in this course, now is a great time to do it because the price will be increasing. Anyway, guys, I do hope you guys did enjoy. That's going to go ahead and wrap the stream up. I do want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching. As always, make sure you make some profit today. Make sure you keep doing your research. But anyway, guys, like I said, that's going to do it for today's video. I do want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.